Delivery. Have a pleasant day.
What do you want? Yeah, I guess so. Don't go swinging your gun around trying to bring law and order and enforcing justice or any of that bullshit. Town's full of badass criminals like me. Vigilante shit is off limits. Otherwise, you'll get your shit pushed in, motherfucker. Oh, yeah, you got any kids? Same here, my friend. At least none that I stuck around for, huh? Anyway, those assholes with the laser guns like to take kids as slaves. The only exception is that little newspaper brat. Now, he's only safe because he has a grenade in his pocket and he keeps threatening to pull the pin when anyone looks at him wrong.
You know it is.
NCR, powder gangers, cons, it don't matter none. Everyone hates the fucking Legion. Those sons of bitches killed some friends of mine over in Nipton, so this here's some righteous fucking vengeance. I don't fucking know. What do I look like? Some kind of badass historian? There's a bar and a whorehouse, some old mine shafts you can get high in, lunatics with laser guns over by the grill, call themselves paladins, which is all kinds of fucking pretentious.
What's a paladin?
Well, they were sometimes known as the 12 Peers. Now, historically, they were the foremost members of Charlemagne's court. Although many of their famous exploits are largely fictitious, representing Christian martial superiority over the Saracen hordes. Anything else? Yeah, sure. Oh, hey, you see Earl, you tell him he's fucking crazy. There ain't nothing in the world better than a pair of gigantic titties.
Greetings, customer. Welcome to error. Token not found. How can I assist you? This establishment was the property of one Lars Victor. Records indicate that Lars Victor was the victim of violence, and is now deceased. Control of this business was transferred to this unit once every other eligible nominee declined the opportunity. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Move along, please.
You're not exactly making friends around here, are you?
What you want? Bitch, I cook my shit. It's clean as fuck. I'll bash your fucking skull open and think nothing of it, motherfucker. No refunds. You'll come back.
Damn, running low on smokes again.
Hello. It's a fine place. Fine place. I like the NCR and, yeah, fine place. Alright, stranger. Okay. I remember how this place was. Before these criminals came, it was a small, quiet place. NCR folks lived here. Most of them worked the mines. But those didn't last forever. The mines started drying up, and folks started leaving. The place was mostly a ghost town. Things changed all at once, though. One night, just like that, the old sheriff, Mr. Casey, his home just burst into flames. Strange, man. Never seen him before. We're hanging around outside. The men were all laughing. Sounded like they took turns beating and torturing the sheriff and his family. I guess they abused the women folk until they got bored. Both of them. Sheriff's wife and his little girl. Then they cut their throats. The town was lawless then. The strangers who did the killing, they vanished one morning. But then other outlaws came. Used Rockwell as a sanctuary. Me and Bert, Mr. Martinez, and Mr. Victor were the only citizens who didn't run when the outlaws came. Mr. Farrar came a few weeks later. He had the papers. He was sheriff now. But the outlaws are still around. Mr. Farrar isn't doing anything. Now those energy gun men are here. They murdered Mr. Victor 4 days ago. Things just got worse and worse. Nothing too interesting. Been in town pretty much forever. I don't look for trouble. I just want to stay in here and tinker.
Never gets old when something blows up. Hello? Evening.
That miserable son of a... What? Oh, you're the new asshole. Hi, new asshole. Yeah, something is fucking wrong. See this rundown little shack? There's supposed to be 3 whores in there ready and waiting. But the dumbass running the place scared off the 2 girls I actually like, and now he's chasing after them like some kind of retard bloodhound. Yep. Lee, the owner, or pimp, or whatever. He's, eccentric. A fucking freak of nature. First, he insisted his whores call him Daddy Lee because that's how pimps do. Weird, but whatever. Guy's a pervert, but that's not news. Well, apparently, he laid out some new rule that all his whores have to call themselves sexy whittle babies at all times or be fired. So the 2 girls who weren't jet-addled lunatics told him to go fuck himself and they quit. And instead of hiring new talent, he went after him.
Hey, my man. Have you seen a pair of dirty hoes running around here? They ran their asses out of my little pussy ranch in New Rockwell, and Daddy Lee ain't got no idea where the fuck they went. It'd be better for them if they died, of course. Daddy Lee ain't gonna forgive a bitch making him search a fucking desert in his nice wingtips.
So, We got a whorehouse with just one whore. Fucking idiot. If he comes back, I'm shooting his ass myself. Fuck no, I don't. That asshole shows up again, I'm fucking killing him myself. I drink and I fuck. In that order, otherwise the whole thing's a fucking mess. I expected I'd be bunkering down here, ready for pussy-ass bounty hunters to come for me, but it seems like the sheriff wasn't lying. So far, so good. I was fucking this chick in Novak, right? You know, good times, shit is nice, when all of a sudden, in bursts a retard brother. He told me to get off her, so I told him to go fuck himself. And then he breaks a bottle and jams it into my fucking eye. I guess that was his one move, cause I went right in and tore his throat open with my fucking teeth. Then I finished fucking his sister. Anyway, I guess that makes me a murderer. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Hey, you see Harlan? You tell him he's an uncultured idiot. Small titties are clearly superior, and he has no idea what he's talking about.
Hey, got any, Jed? I'm getting the shakes here. You got any? I'll do anything you want, yeah? Or just 100 caps and I get my fix. Whatever. You ain't gonna regret this, no way. This shit gets me in a partying mood, you know.
There are many good things in life, but peeing is definitely the best. A man is never drunk if he can lie on the floor without holding on. A man is never drunk if he can lie on the floor without holding on. The problem with some people is when they're not drunk, they're sober. How? Why are you poking me? The problem was, you got any change, man? I got 5 kids to feed.
You got something you want to say? Well, since you asked, I happen to be the fastest pistol on this side of the Colorado, motherfucker. And before you tell me to stop telling bullshit stories, let me stop you right there. I wasn't born a gunslinging badass. I'm trained. And not in some bitch-ass army outfit. No. I was trained by my uncle, Martin fucking Forrester himself. Oh yeah. Well, I guess maybe you lived under a fucking rock then? What are you, some kind of pansy-ass vaulter? Uncle Marty was the baddest outlaw to ever make a stand against the NCR. He took any goddamn thing he wanted and wasted anyone who got in his way. I hear old Kimball still pisses himself when he hears my family name. Hey. I don't do shit for the Republic, motherfucker. I'm a certified deputy, but I ain't doing anything for those cocksuckers. You can ask Jim. This town might have that fucking bear flag, but we make our own laws here. Hell, half these guys here got outstanding warrants. I don't give a fuck. As long as they respect my badge, they can keep breathing. And if not, I can teach them to respect this 4570 here. New Rockwell. You know what happened to old Rockwell? Some pussified little NCR mining shithole full of flag-waving retards who like living under the thumb of douchebags in California. Well, their mine dried up. The NCR told them to fuck off and find work somewhere else. Only a few people stayed. That creepy zombie running the general store, he's an old-timer. So was Victor, before he was a glowing puddle. Martinez too, but he's alright. Old Rockwell died with their old sheriff. Got himself killed by badass outlaws. Serves him right, you ask me. Jim got assigned the new position, and he was smart enough to bring me on as deputy. New Rockwell, motherfucker. Fine, whatever.
Howdy, stranger. I can't say I've ever seen your face around these parts before. Welcome to New Rockwell. Sheriff Jim Farrar, pleasure to meet you. Now, since it's your first time here, let me lay out the rules. Don't want no misunderstandings now, do we? First off, this here town is a proud part of the NCR. Best keep it to yourself if you're opposed to that notion. And secondly, absolutely no vigilante executions. No exceptions. I don't care if you head into the saloon and you see Billy the baby rapist wanted for 1,000,000 caps sitting up in there. You leave him be. You got to draw iron on someone, you two can take it out of my town now, yeah? Now, what can I do for you? What? Oh, yes, I'll just take that off your hands. Much appreciated. Well, New Rockwell was built around the sulfur mines in the area. Mines went dry a while back, but as you can see, we're doing better than ever. Personally, I attribute this success to our local businesses. Nonsense. If there were outlaws, why would they be so amenable to the rules of this town? Now, perhaps the people of the Mojave might have their own little vendettas and grudges against some of our citizenry, true? But, let's be honest here. They'll always harbor acute animosity to anyone associated with the Republic, won't they? Well, let's see. There's a saloon over there, plenty to drink, and they even have an air conditioning system rigged up. There's a whorehouse across the way. Can't attest to the quality, mind you. I am a married man, and I take that commitment seriously. Other than that, we got food, a general store, and a clinic. And I suppose the gun store is still technically open. Oh, and there are mine shafts dotted around the town. You stay away from those now. Ain't nothing good gonna come from fucking around down there. Well, I was brought in from the west. Rather short notice, as it were. There was an unfortunate incident regarding the previous sheriff. A replacement was needed ASAP, and I happen to have the qualifications and the free schedule. Yes, incident. The previous sheriff and his family were butchered like animals in their home as they slept. Nobody knows who did it or why. The most information we have about the affair is that the killers came from out of town. Apparently the old sheriff was quite popular. Man of the people, as it were. Having never met the man, I'll take their word for it. I can tell you this, though. If the people responsible make themselves known, I'll be making every effort to be rid of them. I concede that New Rockwell isn't the most morally upstanding town, but I won't have children brutalized on my watch. No, sir. Yes, them. They call themselves the Paladins, and they're apparently a rogue breakaway faction from that Brotherhood of Steel. Don't bother me none. As long as you ain't Legion, everyone is welcome in New Rockwell. Yes, sir. Yes, you're not the first to point that out. I assure you, slavers are not allowed to operate on NCR soil. I won't bore you with the details, but suffice to say that if they were slavers, we would be obligated to detain them. That we're not detaining them should be sufficient proof that whatever they're doing is totally benign. They aren't paying me, goddammit! If I could toss them on their asses, I would. Anything I do to try and get rid of them will ruin the whole town, understand? This town was just about dried up when the old sheriff got his throat cut. They shipped me off here just to finish watching it die. Just to spite those jerk-offs for wasting my time and energy on this, I resolved that New Rockwell wasn't going anywhere. I figured, hell, at the very least, this spot could be a nice little pleasure town. And yeah, that meant being lenient with my duties. I don't care what crimes people have committed in other places. They can behave themselves here, we don't have a problem. But then this shithouse slaver gang rolled in, all of them brandishing their fancy laser guns and plasma detonators, and what am I supposed to do? I have 2 deputies. 2! What the hell are we supposed to do? We can't beat them, not without goddamn heavy artillery. Should I call home and ask for reinforcements? That'd go over well. They'd sleep in here and arrest or kill every living thing. My hands are fucking tied, so take your sanctimonious bullshit somewhere else. I didn't ask for Green or his people. Well, our town chef is terrified of soap, so I suppose we could use a new permanent replacement. Although, I don't think the current one would actually be willing to leave. Probably have to kill him. You know what? Scratch the whole idea. No, I'm afraid the New Rockwell Sheriff's Office doesn't have any work for you. You keep out of trouble now.
You knew? Well, whatever. I imagine Jim already gave you that dick-swaggering welcome to the town speech. Don't cause trouble, etc., etc. Nothing special. I'm from California. I joined the military in hopes of being a ranger. I washed out, then I deserted, then I ended up in a cell. Didn't spend too much time in there. They were probably gonna hang me, but Jim stepped in. Got my record expunged. Somehow. At first, I kind of figured he just did it looking for a reward from a pretty inmate. But turns out he was looking for a trained gunman. Whatever. Deputy Rourke suits me just fine. The bum sitting in the drunk tank was losing at cards the other night. He called the guy for cheating, then stabbed him in the throat. I imagine Jim'll take him out back and plug him in the back of the head pretty soon. And then spend the rest of the day bitching about wasting ammo. Hell, you could blow him away right now if you wanted. Random act of violence is just a little less paperwork for me to fill out. Don't actually shoot him, please. They would probably make me hose down the cell and strip the carpeting. Nothing that Martinez or Jim couldn't. Honestly, I couldn't tell you much. Even if I was a people person, and I'm not, I don't got any interest living it up with the filth out there. I have a hard enough time not wasting those scumbags as is. Every time some unwashed outlaw cocksucker comes on to me, my trigger finger gets itchier. Yeah, I'll be straight up with you. I'm better at frontier justice than actual law bringing. When Jim hired me on, I kinda figured that's what he had in mind. Turns out, he's just a corrupt hick, lining his pockets instead of doing his job. We got a guy who pimps out junkies across the way, a slave trader a couple of yards away from the whorehouse, and a back alley dentist from medical. I'd just as soon paste the whole lot of them, but whatever. Sometimes we get a crazy in the saloon that I can shoot. That's always fun. What, like murder him? I wouldn't shed any tears, but that ain't how it works here. Maybe around Vegas, sure. But not here. This is still technically NCR territory, which means that they would appoint a new sheriff. No promotion for me, that's for damn sure. Nothing to be done for it but to sit here on my ass, babysitting drunks and chem fiends. Bye.
Aha! Hey! Come on!
What the hell you want? Didn't like the fucking look he was giving me.
Another new face in the saloon. I like to think it's word of mouth about the quality of this establishment that brings in so many customers. As opposed to the alternative, that it's the lawlessness of the town that attracts people. Now, what can I get you? Don't know that they're raiders, technically. There's actually only one real gang in town, those ones with the energy guns. Don't know a whole lot about them. Their boss forbids them from coming in here. Most of the guys here run solo. Sure, most of them got petty bounties on their heads, but it's not really 'cause of gang shit. Usually. And they generally don't go beyond that. Get to be an actual problem? That tends to be when Sheriff Farrar suddenly notices them. Then someone with a badge will usually put them in the dirt via acute lead poisoning, and the NCR gets word that they can suspend the bounty. That bounty hunter that slaughtered everyone in Brighton a while back? Word is, he's been sighted passing through the Mojave recently. 10-to-1 odds the Rangers put a hell of a contract on his head. Shame I'm not much of a gunslinger. Word from the West is they finally caught the Brahmin prodder of 79. Sick bastard. Glad to hear there's still some justice out there. I really need to tighten the hinge on the front door there. Met a traveler from Wyoming a while ago. Sounds like the regional gangs are consolidating power for a full-scale war in Cheyenne. Good time to run. The patrons in here, they're always looking for a reason to spill blood. Normally, I try to avoid any and all violence in my saloon, but I think I harness their urges for the better. My bar has only one firm rule. If you talk politics in here, everyone has permission to shoot you. I have this suspicion that it's actually the politicians and their cronies that are really responsible for Jet, you know? I mean, they sure produce a lot of bullshit, don't they? Do you think Hawaii still exists? I can't imagine anyone bothering to waste a nuke on such a small target. If it did make it, those lucky bastards must have it better than the whole rest of the world. I heard there's buried treasure somewhere near the Ivanpah racetrack. No way that's true. Right? I hear that some guys were trying to transport a big shipment of energy weapons on an old barge around Lake Mead. Dunno how that went, but if the Van Graffs or the Brotherhood caught wind of it...
Bye.
Just keep on walking.
Hello?
Ah, you must be the fabled Courier Six. I'd heard you were in town for some reason or another. Marcus Ledoux at your service. Right this moment, drinking while I wait for the sheriff to work up the nerve to lose another round of cards to me. More generally, I arrived here as the conclusion to a pointless chase. I had reason to believe my target was here. I was misled. Recent state of affairs, I assure you. Though I'm loath to admit it, I confess I'm not especially good at it. I've never met a man who could best me with a pistol, but I simply have no interest in the hunt. I expect I'll be hanging it up soon. Believe I'll head west. Perhaps seek work as a bodyguard for someone rich and important. If fortune smiles on me, and she does, my future employer will even have a pretty wife, or daughter, or both. Well, it's funny. Before I decided to try my hand at law-bringing, I was something of a criminal sort myself. Nothing too unscrupulous, mind you. Caravan robberies, bank robberies, maybe the occasional spot of hostage-taking. Joining up with a gang seems like a fine idea when you're young and perpetually drunk. It was a brotherhood and other such bullshit. I consider it my highest honor that I turned my back on that life before the gang degenerated into murderous slavers and other such assorted scum. Our leader lost his fucking mind, that's what. He developed a psychotic hard-on for the NCR and began to exclusively target their holdings with lethal force every fucking time. I first killed a man when I was 16 years old. He challenged me to a duel after catching me in flagrante delicto with his sister and wife. I've killed many men since then, but I've never once been party to cold-blooded murder, so I gave that life up and have been all the better for it. It was ridiculous. They declared themselves freedom fighters. Freedom fighters. Most of their money at this point came from the slave trade. The boss, a man named Sheridan, took it as a point of pride that the bounty on his head kept climbing higher and higher. Somehow he took that to be proof that he was some kind of legitimate counterpart to the NCR, and installed himself as the owner of some small town. His glorious reign lasted 2.5 months, and then some posse of equally psychotic bounty hunters shot the place up. No survivors. Sheridan, who conveniently wasn't around when the hunters came, fled the Mojave, tail between his legs. Fucking disgraceful. He was charismatic, relatively intelligent, a strong personality. He seemed like a great man. It was unfortunately easy to really believe in him. I confess, I believe the capacity for cruelty and barbarism was always there. Men don't suddenly wake up one day craving bloody murder. But when we first met, he seemed committed to the noble outlaw ideal. He balked at senseless murder. We looked down on slavers and rapists. When the NCR rolled in, I don't fucking know. Maybe he saw them as a challenge to his way of life. Look, what does it matter? I've left that part of my life behind, happily replacing it with money, cards, and beautiful women. My advice, leave the past where it lays. While it's hardly the first lawless shithole I've found myself in, it still fails to impress all the same. Far too many bearded reprobates, not nearly enough classy women. I'll consider it a deep personal failing if I ever find myself returning here. The one silver lining to these sorts of places is that no one particularly cares if I shoot down anyone who accuses me of cheating at cards. Some opportunistic looter with more greed than sense. The scant details I was afforded indicated he was a regular face in these parts. Instead, I find his idiot cousin, who informed me that my prey was actually hiding out way the fuck to the east, round about the Searchlight area. Trekking all that way for some impersonal bounty business sounds just about as appealing as a swift kick to the crotch. I'll pass on both counts. You know what? That sounds like a fine idea. Here's the handbill if such things interest you. Supposedly he's hiding out in one of the old mine shafts around Searchlight, so you may want to stock up on radiation supplies. If you would be kind enough to return to me once it's settled, I'd be more than happy to pay you the lion's share of my commission. It's been a pleasure.
I am not an alcoholic, sir. I am a drunk. There is a difference.
Here. No one here cares about their teeth. I bet you want to see me go topless. People disgust me.
Over here! Watch out!
Teach you to mess with me. You eyeballing me?
You're not exactly making friends around here, are you?
You and I have got nothing to talk about.
You're bothering me. I trust there's a reason, or I'll have you collared and caged. There isn't any little girl here. What are you talking about? Oh, wait. Were you referring to the one cowering in the corner there? I'm not sure how you made that mistake. Clearly this one has a collar around its neck, which denotes it as property. The bright red blinking light also serves to make the distinction abundantly clear, but I'll assume you're simply blind as well as stupid. Elder Green. This is my chapter, and you will recognize the authority that gives me. Address me properly, or I'll have you dragged downstairs and burned alive. The charred bones of the last one are still there if you doubt me. Local conscripts. As long as they can hit what they aim at, obey me without question, and further my goals, they're acceptable. One of the few perks of dealing with savages. Their loyalty is easily bought. They're cowards and traitors. Once I've amassed a large enough fighting force, I'll have them all executed, as they deserve. I've been cut off from the resources of the Brotherhood proper. Without access to their weapons and resources, I've had to improvise. There's a very large profit to be made as selling these savages like dogs. As backwards and stunted as they are, it may be an improvement. The NCR is an abomination, and I will have it burned to ash at my feet. To that end, I enjoy operating in their territory while they can do nothing. The NCR cannot touch us here. They would be wiped away, and they know it. Yes, I have something. I know who you are, Courier. I'm not surprised you wish to serve. To survive some of the things you've survived, you must have some level of intellect. If you'd like to prove your worth, begin by retrieving something for me. I have intel on a bunker by the side of the Colorado River, a pre-war research facility. I have reason to believe they were developing a plague. I could use their work to cleanse this place. Think of it. The NCR, choking and dying, unable to fight it off. Bring me their documentation and you shall be rewarded. Fail, and I'll have you nailed to the side of the cliffs. What do you think? I'll use it. The NCR, the Legion. I will stand upon the rubble of this country and rebuild it as I see fit. The Brotherhood would never sanction such an attack. They wouldn't even find a use for something so simple, low-tech, as it were. But that's why they're dying out, isn't it? This nation is plagued by ridiculous groups clinging to their archaic orders and philosophies. And that's why they'll all burn, while I watch and laugh. Good. Leave.
Prim's got some new sheriff watching over the town now.
Delivery. The NCR. It's much more urgent than whatever you're doing here, I assure you. Have a pleasant day.
When I got this assignment, I was hoping there'd be more gambling.
The fiends are running for their lives. That'll show everyone what we do to our enemies.
And there he is, our proud patriot. Or at least that's the image you seem to cultivate. What an honor to meet you. What does anyone want? Health, happiness, prosperity? Maybe a couple of ungrateful children to break my things? In my particular case, I want you to do a job for me. In exchange, all the perks and benefits of this agency are on offer to you. Money, information, a spotless record with the government. But more important is what it is I'd like you to do. The job is simple. Do for me exactly what you are going to do for Green, but stop in to tell me what you find. You see, this bunker does exist, without a doubt, and it really was created for the purpose of developing biological and chemical weapons. I have my doubts that there's anything to find, though. What Green doesn't know is that some backwards tribe of degenerates live in that bunker. No doubt he would have them collared and sold as slaves. I would rather they all die, seeing as how they revere Kaisar and his legion. Deal with them and find anything worth finding in that bunker, and tell me what there is. Samuel Green, a proud remnant of our now inconsequent old enemy, the Brotherhood of Steel, the unapologetic slaver who operates on NCR soil. Yes, how indeed did I know about him? Here he was being so subtle, too. The only reason we haven't excised him and his sorry little gang is so that we could milk him for any Brotherhood intel he may have been sitting on. Sadly for him, his time is rapidly running out. That's what I like to hear. Now, before you go, there are two things I should mention. First, I'll personally pay you for the elimination of the tribals squatting in that bunker. I'm old-fashioned, so for proof of the kill, go ahead and collect their scalps for me. Can you believe the NCR frowns on this sort of tactic? Secondly, in the office directly opposite from my own, one of our people is prepared to offer you some assassination contracts. That won't involve me in any capacity, so she'll be handling the logistics of it. And that's all I have for you. If you have questions, now would be the time. Don't expect any meaningful resistance. The Legion's already taken most of them elsewhere. I understand that the tribe's chieftain is hiding out in the bunker, though. I suppose this will save him from being lashed to a cross later on. He's a parasite. He was too coward to die alongside his brothers-in-arms at Helios, so he was taken prisoner. He was released in exchange for selling out every covert Brotherhood operative he could think of. Now that he's free, he's taken to the slave trade. I've heard him speak over our wiretaps. It really is a shame that he isn't closer. I'd enjoy burying a blade in his guts and twisting it. An uninteresting, inoffensive name that keeps people focusing on other things. My story is whatever line of garbage that I decide sounds good for the moment. Really, what else would you expect, given what I do and where I work? Is there some reason I should? Look at the progression of our species after the war. Some of them were ensconced in their vaults, a little chunk of preserved Americana. Back west, we've created a near-perfect replica of the pre-war government, just on a smaller scale. And then there are tribals. They speak garbled nonsense that means nothing outside of their own little Luddite inbred communes. Some of the things they're developing in the OSI even surpass the cutting-edge tech of the old world. Not everything, granted, but bits and pieces. Meanwhile, unwashed men in loincloths prance around trash fires, throwing rocks and spears at outsiders, and practicing ritual pederasty. But overshadowing all of that is that they tend to support our enemies, just like the group squatting in that bunker by the river. And that's reason enough to put them in the grave, where they belong. All right,